Very good evening. My name is Dr. Ajay. I am founder of SARA Institute of Data Science, and I welcome you to the SARA Book Club. We are discussing a book named Unmasking AI by Dr. Joy Walambini. And today is the last uh, discussion of this book. In the previous two discussions, we discussed the part one and part two of the book. And then in the second discussion, we discussed the part three and part four of the book. And this is the last discussion about this book, in which we are going to cover the part five of this book. And as it is mentioned in the start of the video as well, that this content is created just for the educational purpose only. And what I am discussing here and what quote I am taking from the books, these are just my interpretations, and they do not reflect the views or what maybe actually a writer was trying to say in the book itself. And I will not I'm not taking any credit for the ideas and the knowledge I'm sharing here. I'm just trying to share the ideas of Dr. Joy, what she has mentioned in the book, and what I think about them. That's what I will just try to, discuss in this video. And gradually, I hope it will be a repository for the people who are interested to understand about the AI and what Dr. Joy has written in this book. And I hope these videos will motivate people to grab a copy of the book and read it. And it is a fantastic book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it reading this book. So, and I'm very excited to share today with all of you what I read in part five of the book, and the title of the part five is Just Human. So the first, the chapter is the dropout, and here Dr. Joy shared about one very famous and highly successful um gymnastic athletes. Her name is Simone Biles. Excuse me. Yeah. Her name is Simone Biles, and she is a Olympic gold medalist gymnast. And as the quote from the book, from the page number 237, Simone Biles' example of self-love and self-preservation couldn't have come at a better time. So it was a time when Dr. Joy was also struggling with the question whether continue her thesis work, research work, or PhD doctorate or not. And during that time only, an incident in the Olympics happened with the gymnast Simone Biles, who everybody was sure she was going to get a gold medal, but at the last minute she decided not to uh, um, go ahead with the scheduled events because she came to know there is some issues with the health wise, and she decided to first about her life and the self love instead of going for just more glory. And I completely agree. Uh, I also completely agree both with Simon Biles as well as with Dr. Joy that most of the time people, especially when they come from the marginalized communities, include like me, they try to prove too much, and during that process, they burn out themselves. So I strongly recommend that every person who is doing PhD or planning to do a PhD should read this chapter at least, drop out or anything. If you think that that takes a toll on your body and mind and you are not sure, you must read this chapter, and definitely it will help you and give you the right direction. So, so, so Dr. Joy took the example of Simon Biles' example that we should self-love first, and self-preservation it's very, very important. That what she learned from the Simon Biles example. So Dr. Joy continues, the Biles refusal is a beautiful reminder of the power of saying yes to your well-being, right? So I also completely agree with this, that our dreams are important, our goals are important, but be, and but before everything else, our well-being is the most important. And again, I want to repeat, all the people coming from the marginalized communities, we should fulfill our dreams, but not at the cost of our well-being. So that is very, very important. Next line at page number 238 is, and I really like this quote, that's why I put it in the importance thing. Uh, it is not a badge of honor to be burned out. And we should always remember that. If you burn out, it's not an honor, and nobody will, appreciate for you. But people just say, okay, go ahead and take rest and take some precautions, and you should to take care of yourself. So burning out is not a badge of honor. So we should always remember that. And I should always remember this. That's why I put this quote as a special. So yeah. So even Dr. Joy wrote that time a public letter for Simon Biles, and this is one line from that letter. Dr. Joy is writing, thank you for demonstrating a better order where health comes before gold. And by gold here, she means our goals actually, and so health is more important, of course. And she's referring to Simon Biles because Biles decided not to, because everybody was sure that Simon Biles is going to get the gold medal in this Olympic, that Olympic. But she chose to take a back step, not to participate, but instead of that, taking care of her health, right? Because she got some hints that it gonna cost her health wise. So that's why Dr. Joy is saying to her, thank you for demonstrating a better order where health comes before goal, where self-preservation comes before thankless martyrdom. Okay, right? And where the dreams of daughters of diasporas to be loved for who they are, not what they do, come true. So we all should remember this, including me, that people should not, respect us or love us what they do, but actually who we are. That's what we are learning from this. Uh, so that's what I read one more quote somewhere that when we hear this very often, that we need to earn the respect. So in that book it was written, and I agree with that. Everyone is born with the complete respect they deserve. So nobody need to earn it. And this quote goes similar direction, that everyone deserve to be loved and not just what they do, right? And when people from the diaspora, from the community, take uh, they did not try very hard to prove themselves to the others, but also taking care of their health first. And then definitely, of course, they are going to get next chance, or maybe the future many things are there. And of course, to whom to prove actually, right? So first is our self-love, and everyone deserve love as they are and who they are, not just for their gold, right? Not just for their work, but actually who they are also. Everyone deserves love. That's very, very powerful. And I also understand from this thing a lot of new understanding things. I got it with this. Okay. Next line is from page number 243. It is when Dr. Joy was struggling through what to do, what not to do, and that time she visited a few very historically important places, and she was recollecting and rewriting few important incidents in the history. Like Dr. Joy wrote, I thought about visiting the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, and going through exhibitions but about freedom fighters who fought against Jim Crow segregation and bleed in the streets and languished in jail cells so people like me could take the option to study at educational institutions. Okay. So those who have joined new, let me just share again. Dr. Joy, the author of the book, she is a person of color. And like in the global south, the most of the discrimination is channeled through the caste. In the west, or you can say the global north or west, most of the discrimination goes through the skin color or goes through the race. And it was, I'm sorry, I'm not from USA, so I don't know much about the history of USA. But I'm from India. I'm doing all these sessions right now, very near to Delhi. So, so I just Google about the Jim Crow segregation. Uh, it was a rule in some 100, 200 years back in USA where in the south of the USA especially, where facilities were separated for the black, for the color people and for the white people, right? And it was justified and it was, and for a very long time it was in place and the facilities were there but separate, or they will be labeled that this facility is for the black and this facility is for the white. And she was recollecting everything, how that segregation was fought and people fought on the street, people were in the jail, so that future generations of black, they can go to the education institutions like MIT, where the premier institute where Dr. Joy got her master's as well as her PhD. So she was recollecting all that history, uh, which helped Dr. Joy to go to those education places. So in a similar way, uh, at the SARA Institute, we are also trying to, when we teach during the sessions, we always talk about our leaders who helped to reach where we are today. For example, we talk about Kabir Sahab, we talk about Sant Ravidas, we talk about Mata Savitri Bai Phule, we talk about uh, uh, what do you say, Rashtrapita Jyotiba Phule, and we talk about Mata Ramabai Ambedkar, we talk about Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar, because we talk about Manevar Kashiramji, of course, right? Because they fought a lot for us. They, in their capacity, because of their efforts, uh, the uh, the Bahujan community is where we are today, right? Still, most of our people are not able to reach where they should be, and a lot of more work need to be done, especially in the education sector. But still, because of their effort, whatever we see a little progress in the community, in the Bahujan community, is because of their effort, and we should remember that. Like nobody in the community or a person coming from a marginalized community should take things for granted. Nothing worked simply, things worked out and government allowed to do all the, overcome the discrimination and make things equal for everybody. No, people fought for it. People went to the jails. People went to the street. People were on the road. Um, in India or maybe in global south, especially in India, is Indian subcontinent, maybe on the issues of caste-based discrimination. Then in the West, the people on the street on the issues of color-based discrimination, right? But the goal was same, that future generations, future secure the future of the coming marginalized generations, marginalized community generations, right? So that was very, very emotional when I was reading, because even we try ki, when I'm in some situation, I think, okay, if Mama Sahib would have in this situation, what he could have done. If Mata Savitri Bai is in this situation, what she could have done. And that gives a lot of hope, right? So it's a very, very emotional thing to read, of course. Okay. Then she continued that she also thought of James Meredith, and I read about him a little bit before this session, who in the 1960s attended the University of Mississippi, risking his life to test the bounds of the law. So till 1960s or around that time, mm, please forgive me if I'm saying it, if my facts are not correct. I'm just trying to recollect what I read, that till this time, around 1960s, blacks were not allowed to study in the same college where whites can study. So James Meredith was the first person who studied in University of Mississippi, and he got degree. He was the first person, and it happened in 1960s, right? So I guess so that is a huge thing. So somewhere we have to start. Somewhere we have to start, and that's what I think. The work of Dr. Joy, when we are talking about the AI, we are talking about the algorithmic injustice. When we are talking about the what do you say, coded gaze. When we're talking about the AI-based discrimination, somewhere we have to start. We need to ask questions, we need to raise questions, and we need to develop dialogue in the community. Somewhere we have to start, and the book written by Dr. Joy is that somewhere, and it's a beautiful, beautiful written book, and I highly, highly recommend everybody should read this book. Okay, now let's go to the next. Now, the next chapter, the name of the chapter is Golden Redemption. There is one beautiful line. Let me read that. I remember the school children who could put their arms next to mine and sigh in relief that their skin was not as dark. Now you think, see, uh, as a listener, if you are from India and if you're coming from a marginalized community, even if you, as a listener, if you're a Savarna, now go back to your school days and remember those slangs which people use casually, to derogate any one particular community, like कि भंगी जैसे लग रहे हो, चमार जैसे कपड़े पहने हुए हैं, ठीक है. So these words people use to, even today school children use this word, right? And those just reflect, like print in our memory forever. So something similar Dr. Joy is also recollecting. It may look a very simple activity, ki how school children match their skin color. But as a person of color, when somebody say, give a relief, ki, okay, I'm not as dark as you, can you imagine as a kid how that memory is imprinted in the mind of Dr. Joy? And that's very, very emotional, very, very powerful line. I that's why I brought those lines back here. That's because childhood, we don't understand why, but those memories imprint in our mind. So like I can also share here one quick memory about my childhood. So like I come from a community which is considered as SC, scheduled caste in India, and uh, my ancestors used to work with the leather, and I was maybe in eighth standard in the school, and I don't know how some students in the class, they came to know about my background. And once they collected a pair of shoes for me in a bag, and they brought to me, can you repair them and send it back? And then they left it near to me, and then they laughed and they ran away. So even that day, I didn't know why they did that and why should I repair that. I don't know. But today I know how how caste discrimination works, and it's still that memory haunts me. And because now I understand what they were trying to say. So, and there is no another way. Either is a caste, is a gender, is a race. We have to keep alive the dialogue so that people we can increase the awareness about all this type of discrimination or any discrimination, right? And and then we can save the future generations from that. Let's go next. Then she writes, I remember the many times I walked into a room, even once where I was invited to speak, and was treated as if I was taking up space meant for important people. This line, I really felt I touched, and it might have experienced by many of you uh, who are first generation graduates and going to the places where our parents, our grandparents could not go. And as soon as we go there, we get all those looks, and we felt like directly or indirectly uninvited. Okay, okay, why this person is here? Right? So, and I'm I'm not surprised, or I don't know how, but I can relate with Dr. Joy what she's experiencing when she wrote this. Ki, she was invited there, but but she got a feel or a vibe that she was the why she is there. So that's what I think. At many time it happens when we go for the lectures and invited lectures. Directly, indirectly, we got some troubles which make us to think that okay, why they are not nice actually. And yes, this uninvited thing, I can completely agree with you that, because those rooms are filled by the same caste people before, or you can say in the context of it, the rooms are filled by the same white people before, and nobody like to share their power. But now, because of the affirmative actions in the West, and because of the affirmative action in India called as the reservation policies, we were able to get some space in those very, what do you say, like very controlled spaces. We were able to get some space, if not much. And still we get that look that, okay, why this person is here? Well, that's very sad, actually. Okay, let's go next. Now, next, she wrote in her chapter, Golden Redemption, if news coverage depicts Black people only as victims, it perpetuates a harmful trope. Trope means like theme, that we lack agency to make meaningful change. Right? So here, Dr. Joy was trying to talk about what media and how people see uh, uh, persons of color uh, in West, because every time if they see only crime news or black people mentioned only in the news when it is something bad has happened, so it creates an image that these people always are like troublemakers, and they don't do anything meaningful or sensible. And I completely somehow relate. Similar even in the Indian subcontinent or in India as well, we rarely see depiction of the Dalits or the Bahujan community as heroes. They always are seen as a victim or the topic of study, instead of the people who will research the other people or talk about the rocket or talk about something fantastic, or as a hero in the Bollywood. They always had been shown depicted as the victims. I'm not saying the issues uh, that Dalits and Bahujans are not facing atrocities in India. They are. But when media will show the Black or the Dalits every time as a victim, so it seems it will, and I think it will give more power to the oppressors, seeing the community as a victims. And so I I think we need to thank. So I think the sensible thing will be here is handle the discrimination, but don't show any one particular community always as a victim. I think that can solve a lot of issues here. Okay. So next very important quote here is now now I knew I would need to be more strategic about where I committed my energy. Yes. Why I like this line especially because Dr. Joy was working with somebody, and then after doing so much work together, and actually she worked a lot based upon their call, and but then at the last minute they cancel the whole thing without proper communication. They communicated, but not in a very proper way without giving proper answers. And then she felt ki in future onwards, she has to be very strategic where to give commit her energy. So I have a give this tip for all the Bahujan community people who are listening to this talk. We should also be very strategic where we are giving our energy, our time, because uh, sometimes we also feel used, that we work, at the last minute people will cancel the things without any, proper justification, and we were just working so hard on that work or project, right? So we have to be very strategic on paper, everything, right, or email, so that we can argue ki what is the justification after putting so much work and now the things got cancelled. So that's very important, I guess. Okay. Our next chapter is chapter of inclusion and exclusion. Now, let's read this and then we will discuss. So Dr. Joy writes, we are looking at a socio-technical problem, which was a departure from my computer science education. With a socio-technical problem, code and data are not enough because the issues extend beyond just how well a given system performs into, even more important, how a system will be used. Right? So let me pause here and let me try to explain what she's trying to say here is. So see, Dr. Joy has done computer science, right? From Georgia, BSc, and then MSc at MIT, and then PhD at MIT. But what she's trying to understand that algorithmic discrimination is not just a technical, but a socio-technical problem, a problem which cannot be handled just by the code and data. Okay, of course, this information about code and data are important, but that's not enough because code and data can tell you how the system is performing, because if the coding is wrong, you can improve the coding and the system will perform better. If the data is wrong, you improve the data, system perform better. But here is more important, a question she's asking is the whole new system which is now under construction. Okay, yeah. So the whole new system through the AI, which is under construction and against which she is asking, or you can say the system towards which Dr. Joy is asking the questions. So her questions is not simply just how that system is performing, but also a socio-technical question is, or the questions become socio-technical because she also wants to know who will benefit from that system, who will be harmed from that system, and who gets to decide, right? So that's very powerful words coming from Dr. Joy here, that that this new AI system which has been created, adopted, and implemented, and are implemented more and more faster speed. So she, again, I think we should understand, those who are studying AI, that these questions of the AI adoption are not just the technical question, but they are the socio-technical question, because we also need to ask who will benefit from it, who will harm it, and who gets to decide inside there. Who are the decision makers? And these were questions of power, not questions of performance metrics, as per Dr. Joy. There's a beautiful, 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 many things summed up, and highly, highly informative paragraph from this chapter. And so all the people who want to study AI systems, so I guess this thing will be very, very helpful for them to understand that understanding AI, asking question for AI is not just a technical question, but actually it is a socio-technical. Okay. Now, in next pages, Dr. Joy wrote, a blanket rejection of AI systems that analyze humans in some way would foreclose beneficial innovations, right? So, 1 second. Okay. So, cost of inclusion, right? So then what should we do? Shall we reject the AI completely, right? No. So she's saying that the blanket rejection of AI system that analyze humans in some way would foreclose beneficial innovations. AI has lot of beneficial innovations are there. So we should not simply reject it. And she gave an example, like in the Nigeria, they were using the AI using AI to analyze the cries of the babies to detect the lung condition. So that much powerful AI is. It can help us. But the thing is that we should not assume that AI system is objective, and we need to ask the questions in this powerful, the important thing, who are the decision makers, right? So yes, AI has lot of benefits, and it's very, very innovative. Next. Her story, she writes next, her story fit the pattern that dark-skinned people are often diagnosed with skin cancer that has entered much later stages. Now you see, Dr. Joy here has given an example that the technology which is meant or meant for everyone, but built by white people or tested only upon the white people, it failed at the persons of black. Or I hope I'm saying correctly. It failed. That technology fails for the colored people. For example, here, let's say there is a skin cancer case. So that skin cancer technology or detection technology works better for a white skin, but same technology detects the skin cancer for a dark skinned person when the skin is already reached to a advanced stage, right? And so this kind of issues and concern Dr. Joy is trying to raise, like that we need to question the encoding of that technology and how the technology works different for the different uh, color of the people. And it might be in the context of India, how the technology works different for the Savarnas and how the technology works might be differently for Bahujan and Dalit people. Now, let's read further. The dismissal of patient concerns about their health, especially the pain of patients of color, women and women of color, also means that even if we don't go to the hospital for help, our symptoms and pain can be discounted or underestimated. I completely agree with this. In general, sometimes the pain of a person, doctor also become active about the patient after seeing who that patient is, and that we have seen very much in Indian hospitals as well. So the pain of the person becomes more painful when they know that person is from the Savarna community. And so that's what she is trying to say in the case of the black person as well, because doctors may take for granted if the pain or the issues or the symptoms are coming from the person of color. My God, this is huge. Really. Right. Now, when we think about algorithmic justice, shifting power so the burdens of technology don't fall on the marginalized and the benefits don't accrue only to the privileged few. We have to think about algorithmic harm, right? So here, yeah, that's what Dr. Joy is signaling here through this writing, that when this AI technology will grow, the algorithms are increasing. When we talk about algorithmic justice, so it should not be the case that all the benefits will go to the privileged. They make a lot of money, power, and everything. But the burden of technology, like, will fall upon the marginalized people. Like somebody will ask you, ki, this is not working because you are black. This is not working because you are too short. This is not working. Technology may be not working. So as in the previous chapter, Dr. Joyce say, the I need not to fit for the technology. The technology need to fit according to the people, right? So marginalized people only not should get sorries or the burden of the technology, but they should get a seat on the table, as the one chapter of in Dr. Joy book is, and they should be involved in the decision making, right? Then we can fight, and we can think about the algorithmic. Uh, we can think about reducing the algorithmic harm. Now, Now you see with this case, the next one, uh, it says reported that IBM used secret surveillance footage from the New York Police Department and equipped the department with tools to search for people in video by hair, color, skin tone, and facial hair. Now see, understand this. IBM is a big company, yes. So they used a surveillance footage from the New York Police Department. Surveillance means, like, we have in public, we have surveillance camera. So they record people day and night in the public. So they took those videos and they use the AI models upon it. And based upon that, they give some tools or some software to the police so that they can identify people from those videos by the type of color, the type of skin tone, and the facial hair. Now you see, it means we are not, it means if you are a racist person, so and uh, you have already decided that black people are more prone to do crimes, then of course, in the filtering of the people, you write black. And most of the people who could be criminals and white, they are automatically outside of your scrutiny. Similar thing could be happen in the context of India also. If the same videos of surveillance and all, and tech companies will help the government, and let's say government and the police department will scrutinize the people just based upon their surname or based upon the color, then definitely the tools they are going to use or the decisions they are going to make will be biased. And these mistakes has been done in USA. So our whole effort is the similar mistakes, if they are happening in context of developing countries like India, they should not be, and they should be investigated. Right. Next is the next chapter is Sword of Knowledge. The chapter book, the title of the chapter of Dr. Joy's book, Sword of Knowledge. And here she was very, very close to getting the PhD degree. And you should read the book thoroughly to understand the joy of getting a degree, thesis, written, research-based degree. So yes, so this is a very important line, and that's why I quoted here. Dr. Joy wrote, I want wide-eyed undergraduates not to go up against tech companies without having legal support. And I spoke about the attacks I had faced. Dr. Joy and Amazon company, I guess, they had a big tussle over a few articles and few issues. And so again, through my video as well, through this video, I want to caution all the Bahujan Dalit community scholars that do not go up against organizations or tech companies until you have some very, very solid legal support. Okay. So I completely agree with her advice, right? Okay. Next, yeah, this I like, this line I like really. The chance favors the prepared. So yes. So we should be prepared, and you never know which next opportunity will be very, very helpful for you. But you can only take that opportunity if you are prepared. So chance favors the prepared. I really love this line. And I think I'm gonna write this on whiteboard in my office. The chance favors the prepared. Yes. You should be prepared. You never know from which direction the new opportunity will come. Okay. Uh, this, I guess, the last chapter of our book, Cups of Hope. So here she was talking with somebody, and then she said, very important person. Then she said, I'm highly educated, not highly schooled. So again, that's very, very important line because now, what is the meaning here is for some people, it might not be possible because of several reasons to get the degrees. But that doesn't mean they can't become educated, right? So that's what the meaning is. You could be highly educated, but not highly schooled. School means college degrees, but education means just being educate yourself, maybe just by reading your own book and learning from the people. But so it's very, very important uh, that it not necessary to having all the degrees in the world, and it's not feasible as well, and it's not sensible as well. But there is always scope to educate ourselves. That is very, very important. Yes, really appreciate this thought. So that's what Dr. Joyer said. You don't need a PhD from MIT to make a difference in the fight for algorithmic justice. Okay, so for all the people who are not having technical degrees, including like me, all you need is a curious mind and a human heart. Okay, so please understand this, and maybe some of you may not agree, then you should definitely ask, quote, and tag Dr. Joy on LinkedIn, and with this tagline, how it is possible that without technical understanding how to fight for the algorithmic justice. So what we need, two things: curious mind and a human heart. That is also very, very important. I guess she has some suggestions how to fight for algorithmic justice without a technical degree. Okay, so the first suggestion is, I guess, you don't have to know precisely how biometric technologies work to know that when they are used for mass surveillance and invade your privacy. They don't make us safer by default. Okay, I'll just pause here and then we will go next. So what Dr. Jay is trying to say here is, see, we need not to expert of biometric technologies to understand when this biometric technology used as a mass surveillance and when they invade our privacy, and when they are no more safe. So that we need to know instead of understanding how actually biometric works. Like we should have a rough idea how biometric works, but not exactly every nut and bolt or everything up and knowing everything about the biometric. Then we will never be able to deal with the issue, right? So like something like if you will try to understand the aeroplane completely, you will never be able to fly it. So that's why. So either you can be a pilot or you can be a aeronautical engineer. Both is possible, but exception, right? Okay. Next slide. You don't have to know what a neural net in the AI model is to know that if an AI system denies you a job because of your race, gender, age, disability, or skin color, something is wrong. Okay. So like, right. See, when we get injustice through the AI, for that you need not to know everything about the basic how neurons work and how net works under the AI, but we need to understand how AI do the discrimination based upon the race, gender, age, disability, or the skin color, or maybe based upon the caste. Now next is you don't have to be a AI researcher to know that if companies take your creative work and use it to create products without permission and compensation, you have been wrong, right? So let's so Dr. Joy is trying to say that when our privacy is compromised, when you denied your right, and when you work but companies use your work without your consent, for all these issues, we need not to become expert of the technology. These are the issues of awareness. So we need to be aware about these issues, and then we need to start sharing our stories if these things happen with us. That only can inform the researchers and the policymakers and the legislatures to know that actually AI could be or technology could be discriminatory. But only thing is we need to share our stories, I guess. Yes. Okay. Next is here. We can go further and demand that all companies creating AI systems based on personally identifiable information must prove consent has been obtained and must delete any ill-gotten data and the AI models created with unconsented data. So she's saying that if we believe uh, and we aim for algorithmic justice, then what we should demand and to stop from and to fight against the algorithmic injustice, we should demand all the companies that whatever their data they are using, they should come in public and share whether this data is obtained with the consent or not. And if there is any data which is without consent should be deleted, the AI model based upon that also should be deleted. But it will only happen when persons will share their stories and they will ask questions to the companies. And it gave results. It's not like it doesn't give results. For example, in the case of Meta, a new name for the company Facebook. Earlier it was Facebook, now it's Meta. So there was a case in USA, and as Dr. Joy wrote, Meta deleted more than 1 billion face prints and agreed to a $650 million settlement in a legal dispute over their use of the face data uploaded by Facebook users. Litigation and public pushback make a difference, and so too does legislation, right? So public pushback, public need to understand those issues, and then they need to ask the questions. Then only judiciary, somebody will put the cases in the judiciary in front of the court, and then only we can put these AI companies which use per millions and billions of people's data without consent to the task, and we can bring them to the law. And like in the USA, it might be possible in India as well, put fine on them, or take legal procedures against them. But only thing is the awareness and sharing our stories. Yes, AI has been discriminated against us. Okay. Now the next part is Dr. Joy wrote, the first step to addressing a problem is acknowledging it. Let me reread. The first step to addressing a problem is acknowledging it exists. I can remember when people used to question if algorithmic bias was even real or if machines could discriminate in harmful ways, since they were supposed to be objective. So, Dr. Joy here is trying to say that people always think that computer could not be wrong, technology could not be wrong. They are very, very objective, right? But the first thing she suggests, and I also suggest to all of us, कि we should not assume that machines are neutral, and we need to acknowledge that yes, there is a problem. Okay. And then we need to systematically understand it and listen to the people who are ready to share their stories, who has who have experienced algorithmic biasness. Maybe they don't know this word algorithmic biasness, but they might be victim of them. By listening to them, then we can tell, okay, you have been a victim of algorithmic biasness, right? And it is, I think, at least in the context of India, I don't see many books or work coming up from these in these framework. And I hope this video will motivate somebody to think on these lines and work on these lines to for future research in Indian context as well. Right. So next, Dr. Joy writes, we don't have to accept conditions and traditions that undermine our ability to have dignified lives. We don't have to sit idly by and watch the strides gained in liberation movements for racial equality, gender equality, workers' rights, disability rights, immigrant rights, and many other be undermined by the hasty adoption of artificial intelligence that promises efficiency but further automates inequality. Very, very powerful lines, very, very powerful lines at the as the book and this chapter is coming to the close. The ideas are becoming very, very powerful here, because at the end, uh, what author is urging us as a reader to think about is, because now the question will be after this, what should I do in my capacity? So now after reading this book, I understand that if I feel I have been discriminated, then I need to little bit understand whether the discrimination is due to any algorithm or what was the role of technology in that, right? And then I think sharing these stories may help us to understand algorithmic discrimination in context of India as well. Okay, so we don't have to accept conditions and traditions that undermine our ability to have dignified life, right? So at the end, we all should be able to live a dignified life. So we should not accept the things as they are. And see, as Dr. Joy mentioned earlier, and we all know that uh, in context of India as well, the um, the jobs underrepresented communities or marginalized communities and oppressed castes in India are able to get because of reservations. People fought for it. Baba Sahib fought for it. After that, Manyavad Kashiramji fought for it. So we could not see ki government or institution just adopt the AI, saying that ki believe us and there will be no more discrimination based upon the caste because we have started using AI. You know, we should not simply assume those technologies to be objective and and allow all that work which has been done to remove all sorts of discrimination to be go away. You know, so we need to, because as Dr. Joy wrote, hasty adoption, adoption of artificial in a very, very speedy. You just believe it and get it done, no question asked. That is very dangerous. So because the technology which promises efficiency, but actually it automates inequality, you know, and here the concept of power shadow coming back here. Power shadow, I will talk again here. Power shadow concept given by Dr. Joy is that the systemic discrimination of the society, when it also reflected in the data or through the data, it is called as a power shadow. Okay, so we need not to adopt these technologies, all these AI technologies in a very hasty fashion, and we should not accept the things as they are. We should not assume the technology as objective, and we need to ask by telling our stories. We need to ask questions by telling our stories. That's very, very important, I guess. Okay. So I guess this will be the last slide. And so now at the end, what as a reader or what Dr. Joy, says to all of us, as Dr. Joy wrote, the future of AI remains open-ended. So we don't know, it's open-ended. Okay. Will we let power in the hands of a few tech companies dictate our lives? Will we strive for a society that protects the right of all people? Will we dare to believe in our individual and collective power? Will we follow the drumbeat of justice? The answers are ultimately to us. So definitely, I completely agree with Dr. Joy that we all need to try to answer these questions. And I would like to use one word which was highlighted in the starting chapter of in the book of Dr. Joy, privilege. All the people who are having privilege at the big position in the big universities and big tech companies, what are we going to do with that privilege? Are we going to do something which is going to impact the people on the ground or not? And as Dr. Joy leave the book open-ended and the questions for us, I also would like to stop this discussion and leave this question for all of us to think about. I will also think about more about them and to revise them, read them time to time again and again, so that at SARA we can develop a system at where at least in some capacity we can uh, we can share the stories of the people, we can save, we can help to the society in India to talk about algorithmic justice, to but it is yet to be seen. So there are many questions. Think you also think, we are also thinking, and I hope um, um, this discussion, some of you may find it useful. So like this, there are 3 videos. So this book is discussed in 3 different videos. This is the last video. So I encourage all of you, whenever you have the time while traveling or just taking nap, you can just put on the YouTube and just listen, I hope. And if you have questions for me or recommendations for me, please feel free to reach out. And I hope your support for SARA will continue, and we will do best so that we can create a space for marginalized communities in the tech space, so that all people will get seat at the table and they feel invited. Thank you so much. Jai Bhim. Have a very good day.